girlfriend of a Boston police officer whose body was found
in the murder trial of Karen Reed after the jury said it was unable to
they
reach
will
a
retry
verdict.
Karen Reed
is
after a judge declared
Welcome back, alternates. It's day 24 of the Karen Reed retrial, and let me tell you, I have been waiting for this day. Last week on Instagram, I asked you all if you thought the defense was going to come in hot, swinging, and maybe surprise us with a witness like somebody that was inside the house or a friend of someone that was inside the house, or were we going to get a more cautious move like challenging the state's crash expert? Let me know what you guys thought. I love reading your takes in the comments. So if you haven't already, you can find us at The Alternate Pod on all social channels, or you can comment right here if you're listening on Spotify. We would love to know. All right, now on to Friday. The defense finally got their turn to poke holes in the prosecution's case. The judge opened before the jury came in, with Judge Cannoni denying a defense motion for a direct verdict, basically a fancy way to say they were asking for a not guilty verdict before they even got up. And Bev says no can do barbecue. So we move forward with defense attorney Alan Jackson. He brought up their first witness, Matthew DiSorga. He's a forensic expert from Delta Forensics, and his job was to interpret vehicle phone data originally analyzed by Aperture. You know, the same ones that we've been talking about over and over with Burgess and Welcher. And some of these reports have been conflicting. You guys remember just a couple days ago. Okay, DiSorga flagged some mistakes in Burgess's report, which maybe isn't a surprise, but he mixed up bits and bytes. He meant bits, he said bytes. What is it? Tomato, but not really, because in this case, seconds matter and details matter more. DiSorga reviewed that January report and noted something huge. According to the data, John O'Keefe would have locked his phone after the SUV backed up. That means after Karen's car went backwards, not before. And that, you guys, does not fit the prosecution's timeline. So surprise, surprise, in May, Burgess releases his revised report, new analysis, new approach, same goal, to make the timeline match the state's theory. This time, he used the three-point turn as his anchor point to make the phone locking appear to happen earlier. But DiSorga wasn't really having it. He says, let's take all the data, not just one point in time. He also explained how the vehicle engine start time doesn't perfectly sync up. There's a 3-second delay in some Lexus models between the power on event and what shows up on the infotainment data system. And that delay could vary across cars, meaning like Karen's car could have a 3-second delay, and so could a car that you buy, but maybe another car you buy has a 5-second delay, or maybe Karen's car has 5-second delay. We just don't know. So using just one vehicle is not exact science. He says they should have used more than one, and I kind of agree with that. DiSorga accused Burgess of really just cherry-picking data points, like that 3-point turn, to control the outcome. And depending on what event you anchor to, right, like the 3-point turn, the phone locking time shifts completely. Even worse, DiSorga says Burgess didn't even apply that 3-second delay that was in his own findings. And that swung the whole timing a whole new direction. He says Burgess ran 30 timing scenarios, and 25 of those times showed O'Keefe locking his phone after the car's reverse motion. Only 3 of those times showed before. And that, to me, friends, is not great for the state. And remember those 19 text stream events from Karen's Lexus? Well, DiSorga told the jury loud and clear that not one single one of them indicated a collision. Okay, then came Brennan for the cross, and shout out to our Patreon because Margot this week told me that Brennan was actually a defense attorney. What? Well, that is interesting, folks. So I was very excited to see how he got up and did his thing. He gets up and tries to undercut DiSorga by saying, hey, you are just reanalyzing someone else's data. You didn't test a car yourself. You didn't buy a car. You didn't even do anything except for look at reports that we gave you. To which I also want to scream, like, Brennan, you paid $400,000 for those reports? I certainly hope they're reliable. And DiSorga was like, yes, he owned it. He was like, yes, these are supposed to be expert reports. Brennan also asked questions like, are you suggesting that Karen's SUV did not hit John O'Keefe? He says, I'm just saying that this data doesn't prove it. Brennan then pushed really hard on DiSorga's cell phone expertise or lack thereof. He asked the same question like 8 times in different ways. And he's like, basically what he was saying is, you're not a cell phone data guy, right? And to which DiSorga says no. He specializes in infotainment system and vehicle data, but not cell phone data, which I guess is a small win for the state, maybe. Alan Jackson then came up for redirect and locked in a few key things. One, that DiSorga is an expert in EDR, which is Event Data Recorder, and, okay, not necessarily digital phone data. But then he says, but you've never lied about that, right? Which is just a little punch for Burgess, I think. He also went in to talk about the degrees that he holds, a master's and a bachelor's, and that he never faked any of his credentials. Another little slap to the prosecution. And then crucially, he said that there is no data from Karen's SUV showing that a collision happened that night. And then this is where I think he really kind of hit home. Jackson asked, if we find out that John's phone logged steps at 12:36:16, would that change your entire opinion? And DiSorga says yes, because that would mean not one of those 30 scenarios happened before the reverse of Karen's vehicle. And that was it for DiSorga. DiSorga was released, and then we had a little voir dire again. Now, this guy that got up on the stand for the voir dire was Trooper Proctor's longtime buddy from like 6th grade. He was called up to talk about a group text chain that they're on. Apparently, there's some nefarious messages on his cell phone from Proctor in a group chat with his high school buddies. Yannetti wants the jury to hear what's in these text messages, and Brennan wants nothing to do with it. We do not know what Bev is going to decide yet, but hopefully we will know this week. And that was it for day 24. What do you think? Did DiSorga create reasonable doubt, or is the defense just creating confusion? Are you on the side of the defense, or do you think that the prosecution has a case here? Drop your thoughts in the comments and head to Patreon if you want behind the scenes tea. We give that to you. You go to patreon.com/thealternate. And I will see you tomorrow for day 25. And don't forget to follow us at The Alternate Pod and give us a follow here on Spotify or Apple or wherever you are listening. And we will get deeper down this rabbit hole.